Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Jan Michael here, coming at you with my Oscar predictions for May of 2026. If this is the first Oscars video of mine you are clicking on, then please note that the way that I do my predictions is I only really talk about the films that release within the certain month, so in this case, May. If you're curious as to why something is already on the list, I implore you to go back and check out my older Oscar predictions video, because I did talk about those picks in those ones. With that being said, guys, we finally made it. May. Holy shit, what a month. I've got a ton of things to talk about. Like, look at this. There's 18 pages of nonsense here, and we're gonna discuss it all. So sit back, relax, as we dive in with the theater releases first, starting with The Devil Wears Prada 2. Andy Sachs reunites with Miranda Priestly as they navigate their careers amid the decline of traditional magazine publishing. I really only think The Devil Wears Prada 2 has one Oscar prospect, and that is in its costume design. I mean, we're talking about costume designers, and usually when that's front and center in your film, the Oscars tend to take notice. But there are a couple of things that are making me pause. First and foremost, from what I understand, this is just not as good as the first whatsoever. The reviews have been pretty decent. I think the audiences are liking it a little bit more. But yeah, I don't think this is a film that many people are going to remember by end of year. And even on top of that, you have Molly Rogers here, and she's never been Oscar nominated before. So this might just be a womp womp, just an entertaining film for the fans of the first and nothing else. But I will include it here just because it does have a slight chance. I also wanted to include it in original song for Runway. This is Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga has won an Oscar in the past. She's been nominated, not just in song, but as an actress herself. So there is definitely some respect to her in that sense, though she's also been completely shut out before. So you can never tell. But yeah, these are really the only two categories. I think song probably more of a long shot. It's probably costumes or bust here. So I don't anticipate seeing this by end of year, but I gotta give it a mention. The Sheep Detectives. Every night, a shepherd reads aloud a murder mystery, pretending his sheep can understand. When he is found dead, the sheep realize at once that it was a murder, and they think they know everything about how to go about solving it. I freaking loved this film. It was just so cute. It was so entertaining. It was really funny. And my daughter even liked it. I didn't anticipate her to like it, but no, she was definitely engaged with it. So already just fantastic film. I hope you guys have checked it out. If not, please do so. It's just so cute, especially if you got a family to watch it with. It's fun. It's a fun film. Does it really have any Oscar prospects? Probably not, but I do want to include it into the visual effects category here. Not that the visual effects are like amazing. Like, very obviously these sheep aren't there. They're not actually talking or whatever have you. You're not going to be fooled in that regard. But because the movie is just so sweet and you love these characters so much, you just buy into it. That's the big thing, right? If the movie does things in such a way that you can completely overlook any of the silliness to it, then you know you got something special on your hand. I say this about entertainment all the time. When you can look past a movie's faults and just immerse yourself in the experience, that's when you know you got something special. And I do think The Sheep Detectives has something special. Whether that translates to an Oscar nomination not by the end of the year, we'll see, but I have to include it just because I do think there is a slight possibility it could occur. Is God Is. Two sisters embark on an epic quest for revenge, confronting a charged family history that will push them to extraordinary lengths. What an interesting film this was. It's very, not to repeat what a lot of other people have already kind of said about it, but it's very early Tarantino-ish, which I know the writer and director Alicia Harris has said she doesn't really want to be compared to Tarantino. Like, she's her own, obviously, writer, like entertainment creator, if you will. Respect, but I definitely see the influence there. Just the way that the dialogue is spoken, the way that the story unfolds. Yeah, there's a lot of that, and as such, it definitely has a very unique feel to it that's different from things of this nature. So I want to actually implore you guys to check it out if you got the time. it's not like an amazing film, but the qualities that are there that really stand out, I think, are worthy of at least checking out. As such, I do think there are two Oscar potentials that it could have, and that is first and foremost with an adapted screenplay. It has a lot of very witty dialogue, which I always really enjoy in a film. So if the Oscars can give that recognition, hey, cool. And then the other thing is makeup and hairstyling. There is a lot of the makeup on display throughout the entire film. One of the sisters is completely badly burned, and she's one of the main characters. So yeah, it's front and center, but there's also other things in the film that have makeup that I won't ruin for you here, but it is on display. So if for whatever reason it does get into makeup and hairstyling, I think it would be warranted. Just, it is on display. It's not just one small scene. It's present throughout. But we'll see. I don't know if it really is going to have the staying power to last all the way to the Oscars, but because I do see some possibility of it happening, especially if it ends up being a weaker year in these categories, I will include it here. Obsession. After breaking the mysterious one-wish willow to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic finds himself getting exactly what he asked for, but soon discovers that some desires come at a dark, sinister price. Yeah, there's no getting around this one. I mean, Obsession is a juggernaut. It's made a shit ton of money. And, you know, it's funny because whenever these type of films first come out, a lot of the people, the Oscar pundits and things like that, go, oh yeah, it was a good movie, it's a fun film, but there's no way this is getting Oscar nominated. Then as it continues to grow and grow and grow and like just completely blow expectations, people change their tune on it. So the moneymakers, I guess, are just naturally Oscar contenders. Is that what we're saying? Like fuck everything else, fuck the actual work, the good things that are in the film. If it doesn't make money, it's not getting into the Oscars. And there's always something that's rubbed me the wrong way about that line of thinking, but we're not here to have that discussion. We're here to talk about how good Obsession's gonna do at the Oscars. I don't see it getting into Best Picture. I know some people are really including it in their top 10. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, look, we've had like a surge of horror films getting into Best Picture the last recent years. I do think the Oscars are starting to be more open to horror films getting in and winning. I think we have to kind of eliminate that thought process where, well, the Oscars just don't really touch horror anymore. Recent years have shown there has been somewhat of a shift there, whether it's because they feel the quality of horror films has gone up, whether it's newer voters that are now kind of out voting the older voters. I do not know, but it's happening, and I think we need to pay attention to that. So yeah, I think Obsession definitely has some strong Oscar potential here. The biggest ones I would say is, first and foremost, in supporting actors, which I know you guys are already typing away going, that actress, that's going to be lead actress. And here's the thing. If I am to consider her as a lead actress, I will not include her on my predictions. I just don't think she's going to get in. There is too much strong competition from what I see as of right now, and there's still more to come. So I think her actually breaking into the main actress category is a tall order. I can, however, see her getting into the supporting actress category. I can see her pushing out some of the competition there. And especially because, I mean, you could argue the story centers more on, you know, the guy character. Like it's his tale. She's just like a huge part of it. I guess you could kind of make that argument that she is the supporting actress there, if you will. But no, make that what you will. Obviously, you know, like category fraud is a thing. It happens all the time, and sometimes it's done for strategic reasons. So that's kind of what I got there. The other thing I do think it has a really strong possibility in is an original screenplay. In fact, I'd be more willing to bet it will get into original screenplay for just getting, you know, making bucket loads of money. They want to give it some sort of recognition. I think the screenplay is where you can easily do it without going too over the top for those who feel it doesn't need anything more than that. But that's all I got for now. If you do think this is going to get into Best Picture, Best Director, whatever else you feel like you get into, awesome. You know, I hope that is the case, but I don't think it's going to go that far, but I might be wrong. I might be wrong. The Mandalorian and Grogu. Once a lone bounty hunter, Mandalorian Din Djarin and his apprentice Grogu embark on an exciting new Star Wars adventure. Oh yeah, there was a Star Wars film that came out. apparently, that nobody saw. Look, I still got included into visual effects. These films get into that category all the damn time. I at the very least see it getting shortlisted, so I got included just based on that. But we'll see what happens. This is John Knoll, who has previously been nominated 6 times and has won 1. So, I mean, the guy does have a presence at the Oscars. So, again, I can't discredit it. As much as you want to, as much as you're like, nobody's gonna remember that film. There's aspects of it that I think just are gonna sound familiar to the voters. So they're gonna be like, oh yeah, we'll just put that in. So that's what I feel might happen, but we shall see. Backrooms. After a therapist's patient disappears into a dimension beyond reality, she must venture into the unknown to save him. And thus we come across, thus far, my favorite film of the year. I really loved Backrooms. And keep in mind, I'm not a big follower of the director's like YouTube work revolving the same subject or any of the backstory that people have made about the Backrooms. I'm aware of the Backrooms and definitely more than the average person, but less than obviously the hardcore fans. So I think I was of the perfect mindset where I was intrigued enough by what I already knew about it to want to expand it even more. And yeah, just what it does, it's a very smart horror film, which I absolutely love when you really can pick it apart, if you will, and analyze each piece individually. And that itself is essentially what the characters in the film are even doing. So it's fascinating. I don't know if this was intentional. Again, I haven't seen the director's YouTube shorts, but if it is, man, just very, very sharp kid. Is only 20 years old. I mean, that's been talked about to death already, but yeah, man, that guy's going places. In terms of Oscars, I really only see this film getting into 2 categories, and I'll be honest, as much as I love this film, I don't think it has the best chances to get into these categories. But the first is production design. Production design is absolutely amazing. It is very worthy of the nomination, and out of the 2 that I'm talking about, if I could push it to at least get 1, it would be here. It's freaking fantastic. The other one is sound. I think sound plays a real big role in the film. Not just because there's jump scares in the film, but I'm not talking about just the jump scares, but just the eeriness, even the quietness of the Backrooms. All of it is sound that just engages you, it like envelops you. So just, yeah, I don't want to gush about this too long. I'll be here forever, but fantastic film. If you missed out on it, please check it out. And yeah, that's really all I got to say about the Backrooms. Fantastic film. We'll see if anything tops it as my favorite film of the year. Okay, so those are all the theatrical releases we have, but yes, we gotta talk about the film festival, starting with the big one, the one that everybody was talking about, Cannes. There's a shit ton to talk about here, so I'm just gonna dive right on in, starting with All of a Sudden. 2 scholars exchange letters about chance and risk. As the philosopher falls ill, their academic correspondence evolves into intimate discussions about mortality, and a deeper connection forms between them. It's time, everybody. We finally get another Best Picture possible film, which means I gotta talk about all the categories it can potentially get into. Now, to be clear, this is if it had the best day ever, what categories could it realistically get? This is not I'm just gonna include it into every category. Obviously, if it has no chance, I'm not gonna include it there. But on its best day, here's what we got. I'm also gonna slow down at points because including this film is gonna have to knock something else off the list, so I will pause whenever we got to do that. So, starting with, of course, Best Picture, we're good there. Best Director, Ryusuke Hamaguchi, who has 2 previous Oscar nominations. I could easily see this being another one for him. We've got Actress for Virginie Efira. I hear she's excellent in it. I've got Supporting Actress for Tao Okamoto, which I know some people have said, oh, that's a co-lead. She should be in the lead actress. From what I also understand, she's gone for like a big chunk of the first part of the film before she's introduced, and then she's a true co-lead. But I don't think the Oscars gonna go for it. I think they're gonna want to put her into supporting because of that fact. I do have to knock somebody off the list now to make it a good 5. And sorry, Laurie Metcalf, I'm gonna have to get rid of you. I think in terms of just recognition for the film, I think Everybody Digs Bill Evans is probably one that the least amount of people know about. So there's that for you. Adapted screenplay, I think that's a shoo-in. And then international feature film. This does mean I have to knock one of these other films off, and I'm gonna get rid of Nariso. I'm not gonna justify myself too much with the internationals because it is a stacked year, and I'm just not gonna have any good excuses for knocking things off other than, hey, this is probably a more popular film that the general audiences, Oscar voters, are gonna go for. And that's really about it. I'm going to end up repeating myself too many times there to do that over and over. But overall, 6 Oscar prospects, you would say. Could it get more? Sure. I don't know if it will. I think 6 is a good number, especially for an international feature film. And heck, we've seen Best Picture winners go home with the win with less nominations. So I'm excited to see this one. Even the people that didn't enjoy Drive My Car, which I did. I thought Drive My Car was excellent. Even they said that this is going to appeal more to them, general audiences. This is a very long film from what I understand. Is it over 3 hours? And still people said that the time just flies by. So I'm very excited to see it. And yeah, I'm got another Best Picture. And there's more coming. There's more coming. The Beloved. Acclaimed director reunites with estranged daughter, an unsuccessful actress, to shoot a film together, confronting their strained relationship and unresolved past issues that neither wants to address directly. Yeah, so I think there we go. All right, how many people have made that joke? I'm sure many people have made that joke. But look, this is not that. From what I understand, this is not nearly as good as that. So, okay, let's be a little bit more serious. I think the only Oscar prospects that this film has is with Javier Bardem, who I hear is absolutely incredible here. One of his best performances ever. And so we have to ask the question, does he potentially get in on a lone nomination, which is fairly hard to do, especially in the lead categories? The answer to that is yes. I am going to include him in my 5, at least as of now. As such, I'm sorry, Anders Danielson Lee, I'm going to have to kick you out. See what I said about the film in the previous section. Yeah, I can definitely see Javier just being the lone nominee there. Now, it would help if the film was a bit stronger, from what I understand. And then there are some people that really did enjoy it. But I think just the comparisons to sentimental value are going to be too apparent there. There's going to be a been there, done that quality to it. If the film was a lot stronger in terms of critical reception, I think we could see maybe it overcome those. But even with all that said, I do still think Javier could just come along with it. But we'll see how it shapes out as the year continues. And there's always the possibility that maybe it was just that first string of reviews that wasn't that good, and like the film just turns around as more people discover it and saying, oh no, this is actually a solid film. But that's really all I got for now on this one. Let's move on. Benimana. Veneranda works in community justice and reconciliation after genocide. A family crisis tests her beliefs. The film follows women rebuilding lives amid shared trauma, showing how the past shapes their present. This one has a couple of things going for it that make me really want to root for it. First and foremost, I do think that this being the first Rwanda Oscar Committee film, I think could really help it kind of stand out from the pack, knowing that a film from that country's just never gotten in. I'm sure there's going to be a big push with this probably being one of the closest it's ever come to, but maybe getting a Oscar nomination, getting, picked for the country, whatever the case may be. Again, I don't know how far it's going to go, but if it's in talks, that's already a good sign. We also got it won Best First Feature for the director, which I'm going to be honest, I'm afraid of butchering this real badly, so please forgive me. I'm going to attempt it now. It's Marie Clementine Dusabejambo. I know that's probably not how you pronunciate it, but that's what I got. Also, the title of the film, Benimana. Am I even correct on that one? Because I keep thinking to myself, Benihana, and I don't want to make that joke or comparison or anything of that, because again, might be completely wrong. But you guys let me know how stupid I am. But yeah, I'm gonna include it for now, just because yeah, I think it has just kind of almost like this underdog quality to it that you want to see it get into the Oscars. So yeah, let's just knock out the Friends houses here and throw this one in for now, unfortunately, because yeah, the competition's gonna just continue getting tougher. Maybe that's a good thing, though. The Black Ball explores what it means to be gay throughout different eras, focusing on 3 existences that are connected through themes of sexuality, desire, pain, and inheritance. Holy crap, what a splash the Black Ball made at Cannes. This is one of those films that probably wasn't fully on your radar going into the festival, or if it was, you were probably thinking more of a, yeah, if I got the time, I'll check it out. And then that transformed into one of the must-see films at the festival, and you gotta love those moments. And so, we gotta talk about all the Best Picture. Yes, I do think it is a Best Picture contender, as many of you do. What categories could it get into on its best day? Of course, starting with Best Picture, but we also got Director for Javier Ambrosi and Javier Calvo, the Javis as I understand they're called. We've got Best Supporting Actress for Penelope Cruz. I do think that is probably the best chance of it getting into an acting category because the other actors, from what I understand, the lead actors, if you will, from each section, are just not in it enough. And when you kind of have this sort of quality where you're not really focusing on all the actors throughout the entirety of the film, I think you have a harder chance of getting into the lead categories. Supporting is a bit easier because that's all you're doing. You're just supporting. And from what I understand, Penelope freaking crushes it in that regards. This does mean I have to get rid of somebody in the supporting actress, and I'm going to have to get rid of Anna Calder-Marshall. I just think the other films are too strong to really give this one further push amongst this crowd here. But adapted screenplay I got here. Yes, I'm including it in casting, especially with a lot of the kind of like little the actors popping up here and there that you don't expect. That's really cool. But you also got like the talented leads here. Again, these are like 3 different centuries, if you will, where you have different stories, different characters, different actors, and I think that is all coming down to casting. You need the proper actors in those roles to make that a success. So yes, definitely. Cinematography, I'm going to include it here, so I'm going to have to get rid of something, and I'm sorry everybody, Diggsbell Evans, I think I'm probably kicking you completely off my predictions as of now, so please check out that film if you get a chance though, because yeah, I do think there's something there with it. Costume design, I am most definitely going to include it here. That means I'm going to be kicking out Sandy Powell for the prize. Sorry, Sandy, you're very talented, but man, that movie, there was a dumpster fire from what I understand, so I can't include it, I'm sorry. Film editing, international feature film, which means I'm going to have to get rid of sad girls. Yes, the girls are going to have to remain sad here. Original score, we got production design, we've got sound, and I think that's all I have it for. Yes, so all in all, I have it for a total of 12 Oscars. Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds like a winning combination to me. Could it get more? Probably. Like, if they do decide to include the other performances, I could definitely see it get more. Could I see it get less? Yes, of course. If for whatever reason the Oscars don't quite gravitate towards it, but they still like it, it could lose out on some nominations here and there, especially as we get more films throughout the year. But yeah, I do think The Black Ball has a very good shot of getting into Best Picture with how much love and praise has been thrust upon it. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's like a done deal at this point in time. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Have you seen it? Are you excited for it? Do you think it's a Best Picture contender? Do you think it's a Best Picture winner? Is it gonna win? Let's talk about it as I move on to the next. Clarissa, based on Mrs. Dalloway, follows a Lagos society wife preparing for a party while reflecting on her youth and the choices that led her to marry a respected man instead of her poet boyfriend. From what I understand, this film only has one prospect, and that is in the screenplay nominations, and I don't think that's gonna happen. So while I do want to give it a mention here just because people have been talking about its screenplay being Oscar worthy, I can't include it in my 5. I think it's going to be too competitive of a year to really give a film like this any real hope to get in. So yeah, just gonna cut it off now. But again, the talk around it is it's a very good script, which I always really like in a film. It's one of my favorite aspects of film. So definitely at least wanted to give it a mention here. Club Kid. A washed-up New York party promoter is forced to turn his life around when an unexpected visitor arrives. Super hyped up to see this one. Just the reviews on it have been so spectacular. It's also a very feel-good movie with how dark a lot of the films that were at Cannes and that are coming out throughout the year are. Sometimes you just need something that's gonna pick your soul up, lift your spirits, if you will. And I definitely think that this has the makings of being that lone screenplay Oscar nominee. Like almost every single year, the Oscars love to do that. They love to give a film a single screenplay nomination, nothing else. Obviously, there are years like last year where that wasn't the case, but more often than not, that happens. Like, it's actually scary how often that happens. And Club Kid just fits that so well. So yeah, I'm throwing it on there. And yeah, I'm going to get rid of wishful thinking. It was wishful thinking to think that was going to stay all the way to the end. But again, got to give those films a shout out whenever you can, just because otherwise it's probably going to get overlooked. Coward. Pierre, a young Belgian soldier, wants to prove himself on the battlefield during the First World War. Behind the front lines, he meets Francis, who is asked to find a way to boost morale. Very similar to Club Kid, I hear this is a very uplifting story where tales about gay romance, especially in the older days, don't typically end well. I hear, from what I understand, this is going to be more of a, hey, that doesn't always necessarily have to be the case, despite the struggles, despite the, the abuse, all this terrible stuff. Sometimes you can have a happy ending. So I'm very excited to check this one out. Again, you need things to lift your spirits once in a while, and especially in stories where, yeah, all you think about is the terrible things that have happened in the past. So yes, positivity, I'm all for it here. And you might think me a little bit crazy, but I'm actually going to consider this a Best Picture contender. Are other people saying it's a Best Picture contender? There are some. It hasn't had huge rumblings, but just everybody who's seen it has come away just really liking the film. Like, they can't think of too many negative things to say about it. And I think of, like, Coda, for instance, where if you watch that film, it's a nice film. It's not a bad movie. It's more just like, oh, that's a nice uplifting tale. And that one went all the way to win Best Picture. So, I don't know, just kind of hearing what this story is about, maybe there could be something similar in trajectory here for Coward. But, if it doesn't work out, obviously I'll knock it out later on. But for now, humor me. What are the possible nominations that I can get if it does get into Best Picture? Well, of course, yeah, Best Picture. I will include it in for Director. I will also include it in International Feature Film, of course. I will have to knock out Rose. I know some people are like, oh, Sandra Hüller's best chance now to get into actress is now going to be in Rose. But I just don't think that film is going to get into International Feature Film. So I think that's also going to affect her prospects for getting into actress. But we'll talk about that later. Original score. I heard the score is actually very nice in the film. And sound, because this is a horror film, you got to include it in sound. And yeah, that means Undertone. I'm finally booting you out of there. You've lasted a long time, but yeah, that was just kind of an honorable mention if nothing else. So yeah, 5 nominations. Again, not a fantastic, awesome haul, but hey, more than Coda. That's like on its best day. So I do think it has the potential for a Best Picture nomination, especially if some of the other big films coming out later on are not that good, like they end up flopping or underwhelm. But yeah, I would probably put this close to the bottom of my personal picks, just because it hasn't been as strongly pushed for it as some of the other films I've talked about. But still very excited to check it out. The End. A story of death and existence in a major international airport. I really like the animation style to this one. There's just something so kind of like odd about it. I don't know what to say. It's like the right amount of odd, where you're kind of like, oh, what's this about? Anyway, I don't really have much else to say other than I think this looks awesome. I'm really hoping this ends up being a contender and kind of gets more love and gets spread out more, just because I'm very much looking forward to checking it out. And how awesome would it be if the movie ended with this? The end! Fatherland. At the height of the Cold War, Fatherland centers on the relationship between the writer Thomas Mann and his daughter Erica, actress, writer, and rally driver, as they embark on a road trip in a black Buick Cruiser across a Germany in ruins. Oof, what happened to Fatherland, man? Paweł Pawlikowski's trilogy ends on not a bang, but a whimper, apparently. And not that the film is bad, but just people aren't going for it. Like, they really loved his first two films. People are like, oh, this is gonna be like the slam dunk, man. This is the spike. We're just gonna get an amazing film. And I think people expected a little bit more. And from what I understand, it's just kind of more of the same. Not that that's bad by any means, but because your expectations are up here, if they're not met, then you just kind of tend to be like, oh, well, fine, I guess. But hey, he did win the director prize at Cannes there, though he did share it with someone. So we'll talk about what it could potentially get into here. Actress, of course, was Sandra Hüller. I gotta include her. As I said, like, she's gonna have quite a spectacular year. If I can fit her like everywhere, I'm going to, at least temporarily. So yes, I'm gonna include her here. I am gonna have to get rid of Lubna Azabal for Hot Water. That was always a pipe dream, but I'm glad I was able to hold on to her for as long as I did. Original screenplay, I will include it as well. Sorry, Boots Riley, I just don't think your film got enough momentum to continue going all the way into the Oscars. Cinematography, it's in black and white. I think if there is one category it could probably safely secure still, it's in its cinematography. Like, the Oscars go fucking apeshit for that black and white aesthetic. And yeah, just beautiful, beautiful cinematography. So we are going to include it there. Lucas Zoll also was previously nominated twice at the Oscars, so hey, will he get the 3 for 3? Will he? That'll be interesting to see. I'm gonna get rid of Linus Sandgren for Wuthering Heights. I just, that really was just more of a placeholder pick than anything. I don't think Wuthering Heights is gonna get any Oscar nominations. And yeah, international feature film, we can include it on there for now. And yeah, I'm gonna get rid of Yellow Letters, which I know sounds kind of crazy, especially when he's gotten a film into the Oscars before, but I think the other names are far too more recognizable, and I still want to root for Benyamana. I would really like for that film to get in, so yeah, that's what I got. But again, not the strongest showing. This was supposed to be like a possible Best Picture contender, and now people are kind of just saying, well, maybe it has a chance here, maybe it has a chance here. And yeah, the chances are just kind of slipping away as the months go on. So we'll see where it ultimately ends up at the awards festivals. A few things happening by a river. A group of teenagers on the cusp of adulthood float down a river, pretending to be dead for social media. One of them drifts away. Ooh, what a spooky premise. Honestly, yeah, based on the premise, like, what does that mean? Is that, like, intentional? Does, like, shit go downhill? It's quite interesting just to know where exactly that film is going to go on with that premise. Hopefully it doesn't fumble it. But yeah, I'm excited enough just based on that I'm going to include it on here. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Crisis Actor. Reviews, as I mentioned way back when, just weren't the strongest on that one. But again, because it's centering around an actor, and the Oscars love a good circle jerk production, I wanted to include it, but I think that film's gone on as long as it has. So yeah, we'll swap it out for this one, and we'll see what happens. Fjord. An immigrant Romanian family living in Norway is subject to an investigation and faces the scrutiny of the local judicial system. And we have your big Cannes film winner. A lot of the YouTubers I follow in terms of like Cannes coverage were kind of saying that this was not their favorite film. They even said they were talking to many of the other critics, and they're like, yeah, that film was good, but I guess it's not as good as these other films. So people were really expecting a bunch of different other films to go home with the win. And this one was really maybe like third or fourth place to potentially go home with the win. But then it goes home with the win. What are we to infer from that? Is it a film that, in hindsight, the more you think about it, the more it sticks with you? Is it that the naysayers are just having a louder voice than the ones who absolutely love it? Is there something more going on there? Is the system rigged? Did the directors, the creators of Fjord, pay tons of money to get the award? We'll never know. But I do think there's something there, because I don't think you can really say, oh yeah, this film is not all that amazing, only for it to go on to win top prize. So I'm willing to bet this is going to be a big Best Picture contender. I mean, who knows? Maybe as the year goes on and other critics get a hold of the film, we'll see that really shift one way or another. But right now, I'm willing to bet that this is going to be a big Oscar contender. So I'm throwing it into Best Picture, and of course, we got to count out all the categories it can get. We got director, which means I gotta knock somebody out, and I'm sorry, Betarajo, I really don't want to make this a sausage fest, but I'm gonna have to for now. We'll see. Maybe Josephine makes a comeback and I can throw her back in. I am going to be throwing in Sebastian Stan for actor. I hear he's spectacular in it. Not that these performances are the like over the top, like they're crying, they're getting angry, but just the fact that they can hold back and act more realistically, especially given the environment that they're in, I think that is praiseworthy. So probably not a win contention, but definitely a nomination contention. I am going to have to get rid of Ethan Hawke for The Wait. I think we always knew that that wasn't really going to be a serious Oscar contention. So, yeah, I'm sorry, Ethan. I feel you got a win coming soon, though, buddy. Just keep at it here. Actress, of course, we got to put Renata Reinsva on there. Same deal with Sebastian, guess kind of mirroring that. And yeah, I'm going to get rid of Juliette Binoche for Queen at Sea. I just don't know how many people are going to remember that film by end of year. Original screenplay, throwing that in there, and yeah, I'm gonna get rid of The Only Living Pickpocket in New York. I mean, it's yet to get its official release, so I can see it kind of making a comeback. But right now, I just haven't heard enough people continuing to talk about it to really think it's gonna be an Oscar contender here. Throwing it into film editing, of course, international feature film, and I'm so sorry. I know I just included this one, but Benny Amana, I'm secretly rooting for you, but if I'm trying to get these right, I just don't think you're going to be able to get in. Man, I wish you had come out like any other year. This year's just completely stacked with international feature films. And even amongst these picks, it's going to start to even get harder than that. So that's all I got for it. That gives it 7 nominations. That's a pretty good haul, I think. Yeah, definitely got the makings of these 7. Maybe more. I don't know if cinematography's on the table there. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about the look of the movie. But yeah, if it does end up going the opposite direction, I could still see it getting into Best Picture, but maybe more of like performance, maybe screenplay, and then international, and we'll have to drop like the editing and some other stuff about it. But yeah, that's all I got for now. I'm very much looking forward to seeing this one, especially because of the way people have been kind of talking about it. There's something there. There's something there. Mark my words, there is something there. For the opponents. In the tough neighborhood of Tepito, a young boy chases the great Mexican dream to become a boxing champion. This one won the Best Short Film at Cannes, and as such, I am most definitely including it here. Especially, again, you include a young actor, kid actor even, in these shorts, and it's sometimes Oscar gold, more often than not, I should say. So definitely going to be doing that. And yeah, I'm sorry. I'm very interested in watching this still. I think the premise has the potential to deliver something amazing, but I am going to have to get rid of a few things happening by a river. I don't think it's won anything, and so it's going to have like a harder time getting into the Oscars without a win. And yeah, that's all I really got. But I am still very much looking forward to checking it out. The Last Spring. Marion and Camille, both 15 and best friends, reach a southern island for their last school trip, brimming with anticipation. It marks new experiences and the sudden close of innocent times. Mathilde Bedouet, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, probably not, actually has gotten their previous film shortlisted for Oscar consideration. So I think that's a pretty good sign that there is some talent here. Maybe The Last Spring goes all the way through. I'm going to include it in my 5 for now, and I'm going to get rid of Hag. Really, the only reason I included Hag is just because so many people were saying it was freaking hilarious. It was like the funniest the funniest animated short film that they've seen. So that kind of made me excited to check it out. But yeah, if I'm gonna go more, realistically, the Oscars are going to want to give more recognition to the ones that are winning awards left and right. So that's kind of what I've got here. Yeah, nothing much more to say here. The Man I Love. In 1980s New York City, an artist expresses a precious window between sickness and mortality, a time when beauty and love remain within reach. This is very similar to what I said about Javier Bardem in The Beloved, where Rami Malek really is the only serious consideration for this film. I hear he is spectacular, probably his best performance to date, and will even prove the naysayers of Bohemian Rhapsody wrong about his talents. But same with The Beloved, the film's just not been as greatly received. In fact, a lot of people just think it's straight out like bad. Except for the Oscar experts, apparently. They're the only ones I think I've seen thus far who are like, oh no, that film's actually incredible. We'll see about that. Just kidding, guys. But yeah, I just kind of based on what we have right now, it's really just Rami or bust. And does Rami, like Javier, have the chance of getting in for a lone film? The answer to that is no. I don't think he's nearly that talented or beloved to get in solo. So while I will mention him here, I'm not going to include him. Minotaure. A high-powered executive's meticulously controlled existence unravels when professional crisis, global chaos, and marital betrayal converge, pushing him toward a dangerous breaking point. Your runner-up at the Cannes Film Festival. And what a dark film I hear this is. So much so that I'm almost tempted to not include it into my top 5. But so many people said it's a fantastic movie. But I think this is just going to be international or bust. So yeah, I'll include it for now. And I'm going to get rid of Fatherland. I'm sorry, but just the way that film is kind of not going the trajectory that it should be going. I don't think it's got much Oscar prospects anymore. But yeah, Minotaure, I'm not saying that one's completely safe. I could see by the end of the day people going, yeah, we don't want to include it. It's too dark for the Oscars. But really, that's a weak argument because what was it? 2 years ago they I'm gonna forget the name of the film, but it was like the black and white one about the woman who gives up her child and then kind of starts working with the woman who she gave her child to, who got rid of the child. And good lord, that was based on a true story, and that was dark as fuck, dude. Like, you do not come away from that movie feeling good at all. So yeah, sometimes just the most depressing shit gets into the Oscars. So yeah, it's a weak argument. Minotaur most definitely could get in, but again, I do see it as being international or nothing at all. So that's what I got. Paper Tiger. Two brothers pursue the American dream but get entangled in a dangerous Russian mafia scheme that terrorizes their family, testing their bond as betrayal becomes possible. And we've got another potential lone actor nominee. I've done quite a bit of these this year. This time we got Adam Driver, who I hear could be more supporting actor, maybe not actor. I don't think it's been decided where he's going to fall just yet. But I'll be honest, it doesn't matter. I don't think he's got the recognition or the talent, if you will, not to be mean, but the talent yet. Let's just say that. He's got the potential. It's just not there yet. To be a lone nominee for a film, because otherwise this film is fine from what I understand. Like, you'll probably enjoy it okay, but nothing more than that. But I didn't want to mention it just because I hear he is this standout of the movie. If there's any Oscar prospects, it is for him. And I'm glad because, he's had a couple of stumbles the last couple of years, which is a shame because, man, Black Klansman, Marriage Story, hey, even Star Wars, he had like some really good dramatic moments in it. Not that those films are any good, but there was something there. So to kind of see him stumble made me kind of worry. It's like, as far as he's really gonna go. But yeah, people talking very highly about him again makes me excited to see what he's gonna do next. So he's not getting in for this. I'm fairly certain he's not. Silent Voices. A Korean immigrant family of 4 in New York lives disconnected lives, each experiencing daily defeats. Navigating survival and isolation, they conceal their pain from each other. This feels like a film that'll have like a very nice family bonding moment experience. This one did win the Queer Palm Short Award, so it makes me think there is definitely something there that could potentially take it all the way to the Oscars, but I feel too strongly in the other films to really include this one fully, but I did want to give it a mention just because I do think there's something there. I could easily see this being shortlisted. So yeah, keep it on your radar. For now though, this is just a mention. Tangles. A young woman is forced to return to the conservative small town where her bizarre family lives to take care of her mother, having to deal with the cruel reality of her mom's Alzheimer's disease and become the daughter they need. Unanimously, they said this was the #1 animated film of Cannes from what premiered there. And even before I heard that, just the animation alone really gravitated me towards wanting to watch the movie. Not only that, but I hear it hits you right in the feels and is gonna make you cry. Whenever I hear those type of things, I'm more excited to check it out. Just because I've never cried, and I'm looking for the film that will actually do that for me. Not that I've never cried. I've never cried during a movie. I've cried before, okay? I've cried before. So, there's that. There were a couple of other animated films that kind of got talked about as well. I'm not going to include them just yet because I was waiting for other awards festivals to come by to see if they prove themselves. So we're going to wait for those before I talk about those more fully. But for now, I do feel very strongly in Tangles getting into Best Animated Feature Film. I don't think it'll beat Hoppers just because of the recognition, but you don't know. It's just, you don't know. Like, Disney's not really been having a great last couple of years at the Oscars, so we'll see what happens. Exciting. Thunder Platoon. Early 2000s Colombia, Commander Montoya leads the fight against FARC and gathers troops to celebrate his promotion to general. As night falls, a violent storm disrupts the party. This is the final one I'm going to talk about, and it really is pretty quick just because I've been hearing some Oscar rumblings from the title, people saying that it's actually pretty good, but not enough to put it in my top 5. I wanted to include it just because there has been rumbling on it, and I didn't want to leave it out of the bag. If in case it does get in or get shortlisted, I at least gave it a mention here. But really, this is just going off of what other people are saying. I really have nothing to back up that it will most definitely get in. But sorry to leave off on a whimper there, but that's all I got. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things I left out that got their premiere at Cannes that people absolutely loved. Just off the top of my head, I think of Teenage Sex and Death, I Can't My Asthma. That one I'm super excited to see. I Saw the TV Glow was one of my favorite films of the year. That movie still resonates so much with me, and I always want to go back and check it out. It just constantly popping into my mind, so I'm super excited to see what we got with this one. But I just don't think it has any Oscar prospects. Writing maybe, but even then, that's very much a long shot because of the type of film it is. So if I didn't include something here, know that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't think that doesn't mean that I think it's bad or that even it has zero chance of getting an Oscar, but just that it is so small and I just don't see it happening, that if I were to include all of those picks as well, this video would probably double in length, and I don't want to do that. I just want to try to keep it to, like, especially now that we're getting into the bigger players, I want to keep it to more films that have a stronger potential. And I will still give mentions, like you said, I still gave mentions to actors, to films that could get in that I don't think have a chance to get in, but there has to be something there, and I just don't see that happening like with Teenage Sex. So yeah, that's all I got. That's my justification for it. Okay, moving on. Let's go ahead and go over my results thus far in terms of what I have in my predictions. Sit back, relax as I completely undo all of what I just did in the video by just giving you the bullet notes. For actor, my current predictions are Javier Bardem for The Beloved, Sebastian Stan for Fjord, Jafar Jackson for Michael, John Turturro for The Only Living Pickpocket in New York, and Ryan Gosling for Project Hail Mary. For actress, my predictions are Virginie Efira for All of a Sudden, Sandra Hüller for Fatherland, Renata Reinsva for Fjord, Mason Reeves for Josephine, and Sandra Hewler for Rose. For adapted screenplay, my predictions are Ryosuke Hamaguchi and Lea Ledimna for All of a Sudden, Javier Ambrosi, Javier Calvo, and Alberto Cornejo for The Black Ball, Will McCormick and Rashida Jones for The Invite, Alicia Harris for Is God Is, and Drew Goddard for Project Hail Mary. For animated feature film, my predictions are Daniel Chong for Hoppers, Leah Nelson for Tangles. For animated short film, my predictions are Nikki Lindroth Van Bar for The End, Mathilde Bedot for The Last Spring, Stephen P. Neary for Living with a Visionary, Don Hertzfeldt for Paper Trail, and Alexandra Pioniski, Mary Lombard, Florian Reginier, Emma Pletchard, Lisa Francilion, and Alisa Paramentier for Susurros. For Best Picture, my predictions are All of a Sudden, The Black Ball, Coward, Fjord, Josephine, Project Hail Mary. For casting, my predictions are Eva Lira and Yolanda Serrano for The Black Ball, Nina Henninger, Nafis Kaptanwala, and Sarah Clibben for Josephine. For cinematography, my predictions are Gris Jordana for The Black Ball, Lucas Zal for Fatherland, Greta Zozula for Josephine, Greg Fraser for Project Hail Mary, and Adolfo Veloso for Queen at Sea. For costume design, my predictions are Ana Lopez Cobos for The Black Ball, Molly Rogers for The Devil Wears Prada 2, Shirley Kurata for I Love Boosters, Bina Dagler for Mother Mary, and Jacqueline Duran for Wuthering Heights. For director, my predictions are Ryusuke Hamaguchi for All of a Sudden, Javier Ambrosi and Javier Calvo for The Black Ball, Lucas Dont for Coward, Christian Monju for Fjord, and Phil Lord and Chris Miller for Project Hail Mary. For documentary feature film, my predictions are Po Si Tang for American Doctor, Felipe Busto Sierra for Everybody to Kenmore Street, Alex Gibney for Knife, The Attempted Murder of Salman Rushdie, Carl Deal and Tia Lesson for Steal This Story Please, and Lexi Bean and Logan Rosos for What Will I Become. For documentary short film, my predictions are Stephen Curry and Penn Bradfoot for The Baddest Speechwriter of All, Ariel Knight for The Boys and the Bees, Victor K. Gabriel for I Got My Brother, Roberta Duke for Voice Shift, and Fanny Texier for A Woman's Place is Everywhere. For film editing, my predictions are Albert Gutierrez for The Black Ball, Mirka Oltanu for Fjord, Anisha Acharya, Nico Lunin, and Kyle Ritter for Josephine, Joel Negron for Project Hail Mary. For international feature film, my predictions are Ryosuke Hamaguchi for All of a Sudden, Javier Ambrosi and Javier Calvo for The Black Ball, Lucas Dont for Coward, Christian Monju for Fjord, and Andrei Zaganstev for Minotaure. For live action short film, my predictions are Melissa Silvera for Diego, Frederica Lewis for the Opponents, Eduardo Broncosta for The Liars, Daniel Audrit and Kat Butterfield for Life Goes On, and Renee Marie Petropoulos for Souvenir. For makeup and hairstyling, my predictions are Flora Moody for 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, Nadia Stacy for The Bride, Siki Simon for Is God Is, Bill Corso and Carla Farmer for Michael, and Zofia Otvos and Augustin Zombar for Wicker. For original score, my predictions are Raul Refri for The Black Ball, Valentin Hajadid for Coward, Miles Ross for Josephine, Daniel Pemberton for Project Hail Mary. For original screenplay, my predictions are Jordan Firstman for Club Kid, Paweł Polakowski and Hank Hodelgensen for Fatherland, Kristen Monju for Fjord, Beth de Arajo for Josephine, and Curry Barker for Obsession. For original song, my predictions are Runway from The Devil Wears Prada 2, Save the Day from Hoppers, Burial from Mother Mary, Chains of Love from Wuthering Heights, For production design, my predictions are Danny Vermette for Backrooms, Roger Bells for The Black Ball, Charles Wood for Project Hail Mary, Susie Davies for Wuthering Heights. For sound, my predictions are Eugenia Battaglia for Backrooms, Alejandro Lopez and Anna Harrington for The Black Ball, Valerie DeLoof, Yana Sojin, Flavia Corday for Coward, John Warhurst and Humberto Gatica for Michael, Ethan Vanderin and Erica Adal for Project Hail Mary. For supporting actor, my predictions are Bill Pullman for Everybody Digs Bill Evans, Rob Morgan for Frank and Lewis, Channing Tatum for Josephine. For supporting actress, my predictions are Tao Okamoto for All of a Sudden, Penelope Cruz for The Black Ball, Gemma Chan for Josephine, Indy Navarrete for Obsession, and Sandra Hewler for Project Hail Mary. And lastly, for visual effects, my predictions are John Knoll for The Mandalorian and Grogu, Paul Lambert and Max Sarnoska for Project Hail Mary, and Graham Page for The Sheep Detectives. Oh my god, I suck at pronouncing names, dude, and I'm so sorry. But I do want to continue attempting it. I think you'll get better the more you try, right? So I gotta keep trying. Eventually, I should be able to get some of these right. But for now, feel free to slap me across the face, virtually, of course, not for real, and say, "Come on, Jen, it's pronounced this way, you fucking idiot." Okay, yeah, hey, May, over and done with, awesome, but guess what, June is just ended, so am I working on my June predictions? Yes, I am. I'm actually very close to finishing those ones now that the month is over. I'm kind of wrapping up some of the film festivals that I do feel play very heavily into the Oscars, so once I finish those ones, I will do my June predictions. That is next. I also have other videos I want to work on, so we'll see. I'm going to try to kind of juggle a couple of them at the same time and hopefully kind of release them in fairly quick succession. We'll see how that plays out. But for now, let me know what you guys think. Did I leave anything out that you think is worthy of being on the list? Did I oversell something? Do you think that I'm crazy about certain films on here? Do you think I underplayed it? Well, whatever. Give me your overall thoughts. Until the next video, everybody, like always, stay safe out there and please have a good one.